What's up, y'all? This is part three of mid-album year reviews. One and two might be mixed up as I'm uploading them on YouTube, but whatever. Next album I'm gonna review is the Dreams album. It's called Foreplay. It's a very good album. You know what I'm saying? Very good album. Some of my favorite cuts on that album are Foreplay, Equestrian, Self-Conscious, um, Divine. Um, the weaker songs on the album, the Beyonce and 2 Chainz record is god awful. I think Pussy could have been a whole lot better if he had more to talk about on the song. Foreplay, that's definitely sound. That's some R. Kelly esque type shit going on that record. I mean, the Dream, you could tell that he gets some of his style from R. Kelly, but he has his own sound. You could tell when an artist has their own sound. I gave Foreplay a B. I had to re-review the album because I reviewed it based on what I heard, but as I gotten the growth from it, I think it turned out to be such an excellent album from The Dream, and it's probably his second best album, I believe, or you could argue it's probably his best work to date because he's got some heavyweights on there. He's got a song called High Art with Jay-Z. He has Beyonce on there. Where Have You Been with Kelly Rowland's pretty good. Yeah, I mean he has A-list cats on there, so of course it wasn't going to be necessarily a shitty album with those names on there, but I think Dream has a lot to do with why his album was so dope. But we're going to move on to J. Cole's album, Born Sinner. Um, how can I put this? Born Sinner is a good album, but it's not a great album. His first album, The Sideline Story, was pretty dope, but I think this album's a smidgen, a small little block better because it has better structure, better songs, better beats. And J. Cole produces most of this album. Obviously the best song on there is Power Trip. Usually it's a gift and a curse when a single's the best song on the album, but it's more in the realms of towards a gift, but not all the way. I like Land of the Snakes for Illuminati. I like Forbidden Fruit with Kendrick Lamar. I like Crooked Smile with TLC. I like Let Nas Down and She Knows, Rich Niggas Trouble. I like most of the songs on here, but I gave it a B as an 84 because sometimes J. Cole's lines, his punchlines aren't necessarily the strongest. He said some sick shit on here, but it's very far in between. But the song structures are very decent. What kept this from being a total bust was just the fact that J. Cole has stepped it up a little bit lyrically and then on the beats. But some of the subject matter on here is repetitive. He sticks inside the J. Cole realm instead of taking a risk and going a different route. I mean, his first album, he was just talking about, his success and everything. The second album is more of a darker, more situational album. I play Born Center from time to time, but it's not the album that you just jump for joy over. Next album I'm going to review for a short period of time is Yeezus by Kanye West. I was very skeptical about this album from start to finish. I like I Am a God, New Slaves is cool. Bound 2 is awesome. Blood on the Leaves is the beats cold. Lyrics, Hold My Liquor is atrocious. I'm In It is atrocious. On Sight, the lyrics are weak as hell, but the beat is off the chain. Black Skinhead is kind of weak to me, in my opinion. It's an alright song you can hear in commercials and shit and play in movies and shit. Guilt Trip is probably the weakest song on here. Send It Up with King Louis, that shit's alright. But the main problem with Yeezus is Kanye's lyrics have dropped a little bit since My Beautiful Dark and Twisted Fantasy. I'm not saying that he didn't bring it lyrically, but he could have brought it back to that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy level as far as lyrical content, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeezus beats are decent. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like the usage of him on auto tune that much. I don't like it at all on this record. It seems like it's a mixture. It's a small mixture of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, 808s and Heartbreaks, and a tiny drop of Late Registration. But all in all, the album is okay. Rated it a B minus, an 82%. Because some of like I said, some of a few songs on there are cold, but it's very few and far between. When 40% of your album is pretty good, but the other 60% is garbage. I think Kanye should have just went back to the drawing board. I think if he would have had more time to work on this album, I think it would have been dope. But on to Wale's album, The Gifted. I like The Gifted. I rated it an 89 out of 100, which is a B plus. I think it's a very dope album. I mean, this is been a real decent year for people to come out with albums because everybody's stepping it up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is bringing it because the game has been weak for like maybe the last 4 or 5 years. So for cats to come out with dope albums like this is pretty good. I mean, my favorite songs on there: Love Hate Thing, Heaven's Afternoon, uh, Clappers. I like Tired of Dreaming. I like 88. That's the hardest song on there. I like Bad. I like both versions of Bad because Wale's talking some real shit. I don't think there's necessarily a weak ass shitty song on here. I mean, the weakest track is probably Rotation with Wiz and 2 Chainz. I think that's probably the weakest song on there. But all the rest of the tracks are pretty good though. There's not a dull moment throughout this album. All this album is, thought provoking lyrics, just strong lyrical content, real talk. I think that Wale, you know what I'm saying, he knew what he was getting himself into when he made this album. He knew that he was going to make something that was better than both Attention Deficit and Ambition. I think Attention Deficit was his best until this one came out. I liked Ambition, but some of the songs on there could have been erased from it. But the next album I'm gonna review is Mac Miller's album. It's called Watching Movies. Yeah, I believe that's what that album is called. Let me look that. Hold up. Yeah, Watching Movies with the Sound Off. Okay. Mac Miller's album, I rated it a B, 85 out of 100. I like the album. It's definitely better than Blue Slide Park. I think Blue Slide Park was pretty weak, all in all. I don't think there's any tracks on there that I liked except maybe the second song on there. But I'm not going to get into that. I like Bird Call. I like the matches with Absol. I like G's with Schoolboy Q. I like Red Dot Music with Action Bronson. I like Objects in the Mirror. I like Someone Like You. I like Aquarium. I like suplexes inside of complexes and duplexes. This is a pretty decent album. I'm not going to necessarily say that there are weak moments. I think Mac Miller took a risk when he made this album. He made this album more hip hop. You know what I'm saying? His first album was more pop per se. And Mac Miller's album is a lot more geared towards the hip hop and alternative crowd. And I think that was a great move. And then he got his own production on there, which is also a great move too, because not enough rappers use all of their own production. His first album, he only produced maybe 2 or 3 songs. This album, he produced the bulk of it. And usually when an artist does a record himself, he knows what beats he likes. He knows how the lyrics are going to be. So, yeah, I gave Mac Miller's album 85. The next album I'm going to review is Kelly Rowland's album. And my goodness, talk a good game. Well, I gave the album the same rating as Max, an 85, a B. Um, Talk a Good Game has great moments on the album. I like the remake of Freak, which was originally done by Jamie Foxx. It's good to have a female voice on there, and Kelly Rowland sounded sexy as hell on there. It made me want to take her clothes off. Kisses Down Low, that shit dope too. She sounds sexy as hell on there. Gone with Wiz Khalifa, that's hot. You know what I'm saying? I like the Street Life record with Pusha T. I like Number One. I like the Destiny's Child reunion song, even though, as usual, Michelle gets the short end of the stick because she's the lesser known and likes to do the different music and stuff like that. Like, I like the Dirty Laundry song. You know, there's a lot of songs on here that are likable. I'm not gonna necessarily say that there's weak moments in the album, but there's a few fillers in there that Kelly should have just took off the album. If she would have shortened it to maybe about, I'd say 12 songs, I think that would have been hot. Which means that 3 of the songs are fillers, pretty much. They're fillers. But all right, the next album I'm gonna review is Jay-Z Magna Carta Holy Grail. I gave it an A minus, a 90. I'm gonna explain my rating. It's not better than Reasonable Doubt or The Blueprint or etc. or whatever the case may be. But Magna Carta Holy Grail, it's a dope record, and it's a dope comeback attempt from Jay-Z. The first, I'd say the first, let's see, the first 13 songs on the record go hard, and it's a very cohesive set of tracks. I think Jay-Z was on a run from 12. It's 14 songs on here, by the way, I think. No, it's 16. My fault. I think from 1 to 12, he did his thing. I think dude did his damn thing on that album. Until maybe track 13. Jay-Z Blue is straight, but not necessarily great. La Familia is probably the weakest song on there because Jay-Z's not talking about shit on there. Nickels and Dimes was pretty decent, but it's a track that you fall asleep to. It's a snoozer. And the songs with Justin Timberlake on here are hot. The Holy Grail record, the Heaven record, the BBC record. You know what I'm saying? BBC is like my favorite song on there. Beach is better. That shit is hard. Like I said, the first 12 songs, whatever the case may be, they're hot because Jay is spitting his ass off. Next album I reviewed was Ace Hood, Trials and Tribulations. This album definitely surprised me because Ace Hood is known for putting out average albums. You know, his last album, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, it was a better album than the other 2 that came out. But I mean, I like Another Statistic. I like We Them Niggas. I like The Come Up. I like Rider. I like Bugatti. I like Pray For Me, How I'm Raised, My Bible, Mama. I like most of this fucking album, to me. Um, there's not many weak songs on there. The track with Lil Wayne was disappointing in my opinion. Before the Rollie with Meek Mill, that's alright. But all the rest of the album, I think is pretty good because Ace Hood's finally inserting introspection into his arsenal of work. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a very dope thing for him to do at this point in his career. I gave it a B plus, 88% because it's definitely his best work to date. He's actually talking about something instead of nothing like other rappers do. He does have his moments on the album where he's got the party songs and then he's got the songs that make you think. All right. Well, there's two more albums on this list, but I'm not going to be able to review them on this video. So I'm just going to review them separately. And I'm going to, you know, give you my opinion on them. All right.